Hi everyone! This can be quite a good afternoon activity to sow seeds when the snow is here and everything is white outside and cold. But we gardeners feel like we need to do something, so this is what I'm doing right now. It's the middle of February. The last frost date for our area would be April 15th. So usually 8 to 10 weeks before the last frost date is a good time to start seeds indoors. And as you can see, this area, I have a small sunroom here near our house. This area is small, and this window is the only window which we have, and it has a good amount of sun. So temporarily, just for 2 months, in February and March, this table comes here, and I must tell you that this spot becomes a very delightful space in the garden, thanks to all my little seedlings, which hopefully will be happily growing here in next several weeks. And thanks to all my plants. Some of them are here living through the winter, and some I bring inside into the house. So I want to share with you in this video what I'm doing for raising seeds in small space. And I also will tell you a little bit about my houseplants. Somebody was talking about houseplants in the previous videos, that they want to see what I have in my house. Okay, so what works for me to raise seeds indoors in a very limited space? Since I have only this area here, temporarily, the table is in, and that big window, I'm going to move all these plants out into the house. And they are not going to be very happy because they're not going to have a lot of sun in the house. We don't have wide windowsills in the house. But they will, they will take it for 2 months. And all this windowsill will be occupied by these trays. Now what I do, what works for me, is I go to Home Depot and I buy these greenhouse kits with expanding peat pellets. And I know that there is a lot of talk about peat pellets being not renewed in the world, that once you use peat, you cannot replenish it. But what it says here, Jiffy Company says that Jiffy peat moss is responsibly sourced from Canadian peatland that is restored after harvest. And I find them very convenient and very easy to use in small spaces. So what I do, you see how big these peat pellets become? They increase dramatically from something like this small. Once you start putting water in, they increase to something like this. And they hold water very well. Peat is famous for holding water. So yesterday what I did, I filled up this tray with water and I let it rise. And today I'm putting my seeds in. And look what I have here. My first packages of seeds arrived. And this is my Salvia Blue Monday sage. It's a beautiful annual, which I'm going to plant my roses with. Now, Blue Monday sage is annual, and it means for the beginner gardeners, annuals usually bloom themselves out the whole summer. This Salvia is going to bloom. It says on the instructions, start indoors 10 weeks before the last frost date. And since our last frost date is April 15th, I'm starting this Salvia. Here I have it for convenience in the plate, and I just make sure my fingers are damp, and I just put one seed into my finger and just drop it into a hole right in the middle and plug it in. That's it. Quite an interesting activity to do on Sunday afternoon. And I just plug it in. So Salvia, I don't know when it will germinate. It doesn't say. But this Salvia it produces long-lasting blue flower spikes over a long period of time. Lovely 2 feet tall plant. So this is what I'm going to do. I received quite a lot of seeds, so maybe I will divide this batch, and some of it I will plant inside, and some of it I will just bring outside and plant it when all the danger of frost is past for our area. I ordered another plant, which I talked about in my previous video, Lacey Facilia. It's a favorite companion plant of Michael Marriott from David Austin Company. He used to work at David Austin Company. So I was intrigued by this plant, and somebody else was talking to me about it. I received seeds. I ordered them quite a long time ago, and it's from Smart Seeds Emporium. And this is interesting things which they sent me. They sent me a little like a booklet. And listen what they said. Google the botanical name plus germination and read what other gardeners have to say. So what I did, I Googled the botanical name of Lacy Facilia and plus germination word. And wow, it took me to a wonderful website where I found out everything in one place about this Facilia plant. You know what I found out? That it takes up to 30 days for Facilia to germinate. So Facilia, half of Facilia seeds will go in here and half of Facilia seeds will go outside. So let's see where the germination would be better. So this is my plan for the seeds. I didn't order all the seeds yet. I'm kind of late this year, but that's okay. I usually don't put my plants out just after April 15th. It's still cold in our area. I keep them all the way till maybe May, the beginning of May, to definitely put them all out. So this is what I'm going to do this afternoon, planting nicely my seeds and dreaming about my garden. But also what I want to show you is this wonderful little jade tree. And you can tell me that this jade tree looks a little bit strange. You know what I did to it? I want to tell you the story for you not to have the same mistake as I do. This jade tree, I always, when I go to some old houses, some old cemeteries, I see that they have beautiful, well-developed and well-branched jade trees growing on one stem. So I always wanted to have the same jade tree in my house. So what I did, I raised it from a little leaf. Jade trees are very easy to propagate. And it was growing very well. And I said to myself, let me start feeding it a little bit on a stronger schedule. This way I will get that jade tree so much faster. So what happened? My poor jade tree, you see it's quite old. The stem is quite big. It started to produce so much of top growth, so it fell together with the pot. And instead of just throwing that poor tree away, I gave it a major haircut. Look what I did to it. You see? I will show you. Look at this. I cut all these big stems out and I said, oh gosh, poor jade tree, what is it going to do? But look at this. It's growing nicely with nice little beautiful stems coming out. So now this jade tree is on a very strict schedule. No watering, no fertilizing. Let it be sturdy and dry and not to produce fresh growth so quickly. This way, hopefully in a year, I will get a fairly nice jade tree growing in my house. Look at another plant growing temporarily in my house. Beautiful
Rosemary.
Rosemary, yes. Beautiful rosemary. This rosemary is growing in my garden for 4 years already. And every time when the weather becomes hot and cold, I bring it into the house. And my beautiful rosemary is overwintering very nicely here. And plus, when we need a rosemary for our culinary needs, I just go in and just snap a nice little branch. Oh, it smells so good. Oh, the air is so beautiful when you touch this nice rosemary. Although, unfortunately, in the winter it loses some of its needles, so it gets a little messy here. But it's living, you know. And when I bring it back into outside into the garden in spring, it becomes so happy and so green. Yeah, I can show you my spider plant. Of course, spider plant keeps producing babies. So for the beginner gardeners, if you see something like this, you can cut it off. And this spider plant already has little roots coming out from here. They are ready to root. So if you get that in contact with the soil, this little guy will start growing and you will have a little baby plant growing in your house. But since I don't need these baby plants, what I do, I just cut these long stems out and dispose of them. Because this can be quite a, prolific plant. And I really don't need a lot of them in the house. I have 3 of them. 1, 2, and there I have a 3rd one. Now this little guy, look at this little guy. Let me come from here. I will show you. Oh, look at this little plant. This plant is called elephant plant. Yeah, elephant plant. I brought him outside and he's a very shy succulent. He doesn't really enjoy too much of a sun. So when I brought him outside, all his stems became very angrily purple. I put him on the sun. He was so soft looking in the house, but during summer vacation outside, he became really colorful, I think. So I thought that for the winter, when I bring him inside the house, he's going to be, he will change his color back into the beige stems, but it didn't happen. He's forever purple now. He looks a little sinister, I think, but he's growing, happily growing in my house here. So here we go. Now this unusual plant is elephant ears plant. And I don't consider it to be a house plant. So this beautiful elephant ear plant was given to me by my sister-in-law's mother who lives in Florida. Hello, thank you for the plant. And it's growing happily in my house. But in Florida, elephant ear plants grows huge. It overtakes the territory. It has wonderful big leaves. Here, honestly, I didn't think this plant will survive. Here, it's kind of cold in my sunroom. The temperature here during the day is just over 60, around 65, and it goes below 60 at night. So these plants are kind of surviving here on a survival schedule. Okay, I want to show you one more plant. It's called ZZ plant. And if you guys, somebody doesn't know garden plants, sorry, my English, and they're looking for low light plant, that's a plant for you. Very low maintenance, can live in the light in the bathrooms, basically. So give me a second, I will bring it to you. All right, I brought from inside to show you my ZZ plant. ZZ plant is poisonous. The sap of ZZ plant can be poisonous to humans, so watch out, especially if you have pets in the house and baby kids. But ZZ plant is very easy to grow in low light conditions. This guy, we brought him in the house maybe half a year ago, and he's happily growing here. He doesn't need to be watered a lot. What I will do, I will replant him in the bigger pot. But if you have area where you have high humidity, low humidity, you can't get to your plant on time and water it, and it's growing in your living room where there's no light, only electrical light, ZZ plant is for you to grow. So this guy, he is inside plant for us. I don't keep him here. And since all the seeds are going to be growing here, all these plants are taking a vacation inside of my house. One more thing I wanted to tell you is that companionship of plants is very good to have in the house. If you have a nice place somewhere where you can relax, you have a chair, you can read, and there are plants around you, it can be quite good to lower the stress, to lower your, the feeling of busyness in the house, and just to relax and read your book or even do your work. Very often I work here now when the table is here in the sunroom. So please do subscribe to my channel. Happy gardening, and I will see you next time.